Hey, everybody, welcome back. It is now 2025. This expo is over, the new one is starting. And, we always focus on improving, doing better. But the one thing we definitely try to do is when we've got a great scenario, like we do with this guy right here as our title sponsor, we keep it there, guys, and they've locked in for the next 3 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, the second year in a row as the title sponsor for the Fantasy Football Expo, Mr. Tyler Bradley of now the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. We'll get into that, but Tyler, welcome. Thank you. We're so excited to kick off 2025. You're back. Your team's back. It's going to be another kick-ass year. How you doing, man?
Man, I am good. Just living the dream over here, trying to keep up with everything that's going on, but pumped to be part of the expo. Like the expo is kind of gets at the heart of fantasy and why we all do it, and that come together, time of just, talking ball and hanging out. Like it's joy for us. And us being a community platform, I've always told you, we just really connect when it comes to mission and vision for what we want in the fantasy sports industry. And we're excited to continue to partner with you guys and help, be a part of the expo and all it's about.
No, I appreciate you and I appreciate you being a part of this again this year. So let's talk about the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. It used to be also known as the site formerly known as, not Prince, but the Fantasy Football Advice Network. But hey, you're growing, you're getting bigger, and there's more sports to cover, my friend. So tell us about the move, the exciting move that you're heading towards in 2025 to take on all sports.
Yeah, so and I say that we as a platform are not as far as our content, we are not covering all sports. We are managing football, basketball, and baseball this year. But our platform was growing beyond how we were able to grow as far as sports coverage. And really, there's all kinds of communities for fantasy sports, whether it be hockey, PGA, soccer, even people are doing fantasy survivor. And I mean,
right.
I don't know if you count it as a sport, but I mean, it's a competition, right?
Heck
But
yeah, right?
we
Yeah.
wanted to create a space, where, not only content creators can come and build communities. And I'll tell you a lot about that as we get through this, because we have completely innovated the way that we help content creators monetize and build their community platforms. It's going to be awesome. But, we really wanted to get into fantasy sports as a whole. And that's where our company was originally headed. It just kind of happened a lot faster than we thought it would. We've been around. We launched as the Fantasy Football Advice Forum 2 months before the Expo 2023. And then, we grew, and then 2024, I met my partner. During the 23 conference through 2024, I met my partner. We just redesigned our whole tech platform that we offer, and that was awesome. And then going into 2025, we were like, okay, this growth is great. We're going to go ahead and make the transition to Fantasy Sports Advice Network. And, we're excited about it. It all comes from that grain where we just want to, support you guys, want to support the fantasy sports community, and we want to support creators. That's one thing I love about the Expo is all the creators that come together, outside of even just players, right? Like creators that come together that have a product, or even if it's not a product, it's more about the content that they create and stuff. And we just want to continue to give them leverage and to give them a space to announce what they're doing, and to make it broader and to be able to, even make a little bit of money off of it, but really broaden their business demographic while also creating genuine communities for their clients.
But like you said, this the whole expo was created just so that I always say that the community, while everybody's included, whether it's NBC Sports or ESPN, all the way down to someone who's just getting started and wants to be a writer, we're one big community. The great thing about our community is the people at NBC Sports and ESPN are just as nice and easy to talk to as the guy who just got started or lady that just got started. And that's what the Expo does. It brings all that group together and we learn off each other. And like you said, this advice network that you're creating is giving those folks that opportunity to share that knowledge. Somebody wants to maybe learn more about the importance of consistency in fantasy football. Somebody may want to know more about IDP. Some people may want to learn more about Dynasty or Devi or whatever you want to get into. And, now we have all the fun folks like Todd Bailey of Extreme Fantasy Leagues and, the guys from Smash Up Sports. And, it's just all this fun. It's like just such cool vibes that people show up with these new ideas and these new platforms, these new things. And you're just sitting there going, this is awesome. This is awesome that somebody can just sit there and go, you know what? I got an idea. Let's go with it. And you do. And it's just that's what's so great. And then for those folks to come and have that opportunity to share that new tool, that new game, that new whatever with the whole community, work with you. I know you partnered kind of with Smash Up Sports for the fantasy playoffs and have a super cool game. I've been playing it. I'm not doing very well at it, but I've been playing anyway. But damn it, it's fun. And I love playing all these player cards and giving them special powers, but I'm not picking them very well. But anyway, nonetheless, that's what's great. And you met those guys, right, at the Expo last year, and here we are. So, folks, whether you're a fan, whether you're a content creator, and I think that's the most important thing is a lot of folks early on thought this was just for content creators. Oh, well, I can't go, I'm a fan. No, in fact, we are so focused on fans this year. And Tyler, you know all about this. We've created actually fan experiences. And we have one that I got to talk about, Tyler, and then we'll get back to obviously your group. But because we're so excited about this one, it's called the Ultimate Fan Experience. So if you want to come and just get to do everything top notch, high level, this is it. You want to have a meet and greet, personal time, Bob Harris, Marcus Grant, Andy Behrens from Yahoo, JJ Zachariason, no problem. Part of the Ultimate Fan package. You know what? We're only selling 100 of these tickets. So it's going to be 100 people with all of these guys that they can talk to one-on-one, have a drink, have some food, enjoy the time together. They're going to be part of the Fans Classic. We'll talk about that at some other time. You get your weekend package, your draft night out ticket. Instead of just getting a ticket to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, oh no, we're going to give you a guided tour personally by some of the staff at the Pro Football Hall of Fame that know all the ins and outs. That's part of the package. There's exclusive merchandise. We'll talk about the store in a little bit too. There's just so many things. It's like a $525 package for everything you get to do and top-notch stuff, like high-level stuff. It's not just, here's a ticket to the Hall of Fame. And so you get that for only $375. Now, that may sound like a lot, but when you add up all the things you're going to get and all the cool things, all the exclusive shirts and hats and Fans Classic entry and all this cool stuff that you're going to get is the Ultimate Fan Package. That's why we call it. So we created it for the fans. We want more fans to come. We want them to enjoy the city of Canton. We know it's great. We love it. We run around town at night. We may or may not go to a few bars most evenings, but it's a good time. And Tyler, I know you're the leader, I think, of some of those night tours. But tell us about the fun that you and your team have had, because it is a good time too. I mean, you come to learn fantasy. We'll talk about that a little bit and how the Advice Network helps that. But just talk about the fun of just kind of letting loose for a weekend, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Expo's a blast. Like you always, like, we join all these communities or groups just to talk ball, and like it's a whole weekend of it. And I love it. I mean, everything, like I actually usually come in a day early
A lot of people
just
do.
so that I can like, be ready and then be there. And, the Friday night party, the Saturday night party, the expo event, the draft night out, the poker tournament. There's just all kinds of stuff out there to be involved in and to do. And you meet so many new people. And, you mentioned like some of the big names in the content arena, and like, it's like direct access. Like I remember, us all sitting out on the back patio out there by the DoubleTree, hanging out and talking, about fantasy, or even not about fantasy. I know there's like a whole nother seminar that was there that came out and started talking about barbecue, and then started asking us all of their fantasy football questions. And,
Right.
it was just fun, and I think that genuine connection, like that camaraderie, the things that why we play in the same fantasy league for the last 20 years, like that's kind of what it's all about and what brings it together. And, the expo is like that. You see, every year you see a lot of the same faces and a lot of the same friends, but you also see a ton of new faces and you make new friends and people get to experience it. I mean, whether it's, playing wiffle ball at 2 a.m. with Eric Froton.
Allegedly. We might have videos. We're not sure.
Yeah, right. But it's a good time. It's good hangout. And there's tons of, like, if you're coming for the content, if you're coming to get fed in like fantasy knowledge and experience, you're going to get that. But if you also just want to come and like be in the space and find out new places to interact, or as a content creator, if you want to come and interact with fans, or figure out new ways to build your brand, or what you can offer the greater population that's value, because so many people are doing the same thing, it's a great place to do that and to hash that out. And I mean, that's why, Bob, you've seen for our company, we've innovated every year. And I think that this year, like, our innovation is going to be well beyond what we ever thought it would be. And I think it's going to help support this, the content creator community, and give fans an access point, a lot like what we hope for in the expo, right? Like an access point to all of it, right? Where I don't have to go all these different places. Like, it's just right there. And even if it's just for a weekend, right there, you know what I mean?
Right. No, I agree. And like you said, it's so much fun, so much learning that can be done. I mean, that Sunday event, again, for folks, you've never been to this and you're watching this for the first time. Imagine you walked into a 100,000 square foot Superdome type arena, and you've got 3 stages of fantasy football goodness, sports betting, dynasty, expert mock drafts, watching Bob Harris, Howard Bender, Jeff Ratcliffe, and all these guys literally having a mock draft right in front of you, answering your questions about the picks as they go. That happens that day. Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio is broadcasting live from the event. So if you're a person that listens to XM all the time and you listen to Fantasy Sports Radio, all those folks, they're all going to be there. Jeff Manns, Radcliffe, Howard Bender, Bob Harris, all the guys from Fantasy Points, Brian Drake that you hear in the morning, all will be there as part of the weekend. So if you're there, if you need to learn, let's say you do well at fantasy football, good for you. I mean, but come anyway. We all learn. I sit there and go, oh yeah, that. I mean, and I learn and people learn from me. I'll talk about my consistency stuff and say, here's who I like, and pass out that information as well. So it really is a great learning experience. The cool thing is, hey, dads, moms, kids, come all as a family. If mom and dad and son and daughter all play fantasy football together, bring the whole family. Because you can come, you can enjoy yourself. There's some drinking. I mean, we're not gonna lie. I mean, obviously there's parties, but you buy your own. So it's not like you want to have a Diet Coke, you can have a Diet Coke. Nobody's gonna judge you, and that's what's great. It's it's a family thing. You can have a good time. Bring the kids. One of my writers from my site came the first year, brought his 8-year-old son, 6-year-old daughter, wife, and and they had a blast. And now he writes for me because he's such a good dude, James Knight. And his family had a blast. His kids came up, gave me a hug at the end of the week and said, thank you. And I was like, what? So it's just so cool to see all this happen. It's in Canton, Ohio. So if you haven't been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and you're a fantasy football lover, I don't know how you can say no to that. I mean, go to the hall, see it, you don't have to come every year and see it. I mean, you don't have to see the Hall of Fame every year. I mean, it changes a little bit, but not a lot, but that's okay. Come get the guided tour, get the big package, enjoy all the experience they're going to have. So yeah, it's going to be a good time. So, Tyler, like you said, this is your second year sponsoring. You guys have been a huge help. The team's been a huge help. Talk about what the team has experienced. I know what you've gained from it, but talk about the team and how they feel at the end of the weekend and some of the things that they gain as a member of a team, like your group that you have.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. This past year, it was really year one for the Fantasy Football Advice Network. And we came and we had like 18 people, creators with us. And you definitely knew we were there. But it was fun. A lot of our creators, really got opportunity to create, opportunity to just kind of also hang out and experience and connect with fans. In fact, one of our top subscribers to our content was there, and we got a picture with him. And he's an older gentleman. He's on our site. He goes by the name Geezer, and he's always there. He's always hanging out. He's always talking ball, asking these crazy questions. And so, he got to see our team there and take a picture with us, and he was so excited, and it was cool to create that opportunity of reach, right? You see us on YouTube, or you hear us on the radio, or, on broadcasts, and that's one thing. But then when you can actually meet the people that you're listening to and have connection with them, that's one of the beauties of the Expo, right? It creates that. But our team loved that. As a creator, sometimes validation is key. Not that we look for it, but it helps encourage us in our pursuits, right? When you see so many people that have heard you or know what you do or have seen your stuff, and and so for them, they got to really see that people were listening to them and that they had a voice. And it was a huge, even that experience of the fans coming up and wanting pictures and things like that. It was a big deal for our creators. It really encouraged our team, but they love being a part of the van and being everywhere, even from I know we didn't have to, but we helped with registration and, helped with this event and that event. We played in the flag football tournament, and it was a great camaraderie thing for our crew. It was a great experience, and our team definitely enjoyed it, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So I want to jump back to the Expo a little bit, because one of the things, so we did a big survey at the end of last year's event, sent it out to everybody and asked for their thoughts. And one of the big ones, as I mentioned before, was the fan experiences. But another one that I thought was interesting, and it made sense, but I never thought about it, was, Bob, I wish I had Expo shirts to wear prior to the Expo so that I could promote it locally wherever they live and show off that they were going. Because normally they'd only get the shirt at the weekend, and then they come home and people are like, oh, where is that? Oh, well, that was 2 weeks ago. And now it's another, it's almost 8-9 months before it happens again. So our good friend, Nate Cheatham, which we all know and love, who does all the back end stuff and does an amazing job, said, let's create a store. I'm like, oh, okay. So, we got a site, one of those sites that you just put logos in out. But one of the things when we did it originally and had, the things mocked up with the typical one, right? Not that there's anything wrong with the logo. And obviously it has Fantasy Football Sports Advice Network. But I said, what would be fun? I said, let's do something. So I'm going to share the screen so we can show what this looks like. So check out what our idea was. This is my idea, actually. I'll take credit for this one. I said, let's create music festival type shirts that look like a music festival, but they're going to be about the expo. And so I'm going to scroll up and pick a few. So this one, hopefully it'll come up big on the screen, or at least bigger. There we go. So you can see it says Exponeroo. For those folks that don't know what Bonnaroo is, you've been under a thing for a long, long time. But if you can see, it has the date, the activities, the parties. It literally says everything that's going on that weekend. And then down here, we have our special guest, or like the bands, and it's all the top fantasy experts. And then down here is people like me and Tyler. But the top guys are up here. So that's what we did. And so that's let's see, that's the front, that's the front. Yeah, okay. So that's that one. Gotta go back one. Okay, why is it not? Oh, there it goes. Then this one is the Expo Rock Show. So for all you headbangers out there, this is the Expo Rock Show. So basically same thing, but you got the guitars and all that fun stuff. Now, I know you country fans, you're starting to complain already. I can hear you. Don't worry. We got you covered. We got your own Expo Country Fest. Da! There it is. So we got some super cool shirts that, we just thought it'd be fun to have. People could wear. People could be like, hey, when's that? Oh, that's a fantasy football. So we thought it might catch people's eyes. Of course, you can buy other stuff here that have the regular logos. Nothing wrong with that. We've got tanks with the logos, the 2025 logos, hats, polos, fans classic. So that's new this year. This is kind of a fun one. So that's that t-shirt. I'll come back. We'll talk about that a little bit later about the Fans Classic, but that's the shirt. Anybody who enters in the Fans Classic gets a shirt for free. So, all right. So let's go back to you. I guess first off, what do you think of the new merchandise?
I love it. I love seeing the expo everywhere, and I hope it really helps us get a ton more people to the event. I mean, it's already loaded, already has a ton, but it has room. We got room for growth, right? And so I'm pumped about that. I'm excited to see Expo everywhere. It'll definitely adds some flavor there.
Yeah, I like it. We thought we'd have some fun. So we're bringing some shirts to FSGA. So we'll make sure you get one, whatever choice you want. I think we've got like 3 sizes of each one. So let me know. We'll get you whatever size you are. So we're going to try to give out some shirts just to kind of psych people up about it. But anyway, that's the merchandise for that. So again, let's go back to you and talk more about Fantasy Sports Advice Network. Talk about this cool app that you said you guys are designing. What's it going to do bigger, better than the other, your current one has done?
Well, Bob, the interesting thing in growing what we've built out, we built a social media for fantasy sports, and we created a way for content creators to essentially, join that space as brands, build their communities, have affiliate income, all those things. But in our discussions with content creators, and this is key for us, we listen, right? And I think you have to be open to listen and to innovate. And one of the things that we got was that, hey, we really want to join this, but we don't really want to bring our customers here in this collective space where maybe they could latch on to other people's content, or we may lose them. You know what I'm saying? We would really rather have our own space. Even Matthew Berry, he saw our platform and he was like, I love this. He was awesome. Yeah, can I have one? And I'm like,
and you said, yes.
Yes. So we have shifted to where we can actually build out every content brand's own social media platform within the larger network. So think of it like as a Roku app or like Amazon Prime, right? Like fantasy on demand. So you have your general channels, like your different sports where everybody can go in and interact for free, but then users can actually subscribe directly to Big Guy Fantasy Sports, and they
Or
can
the
enter
Expo.
that. Yeah, they can
The
enter,
Expo
or
on
the
YouTube.
Expo,
Yeah.
or Fantasy Pros or whoever, and they can enter that community space and be in that space without the influence of other creators or anything. So everybody essentially gets their, what they do now, right? They try to build this out in a Discord channel. Well, we give them, instead of a channel, we give them a channel, but it's their own social media community platform where they can collect all their people. They can set up membership fees. They can set up all this stuff to monetize their content. We have direct imports. So like we have it set up whenever you onboard to where it'll automatically pull your YouTube videos in there. It'll automatically pull your podcasts in there. It'll automatically pull your articles and stuff in there through WordPress, so that your community can not only access but they can access the exclusive content that you may only offer in there, or direct access to your creators, which you only offer in there. And we did it for each. So there's a realm where like you as a creator, right, can essentially invite people into your platform without them ever even getting involved in anybody else's.
Nice.
Now, if they get out and they decide to go to the general and they search, sure, they could find another brand, but you can have a link directly on your website to your own social media platform for your community. And we built it out that way, because there was this conflicting idea that people wanted their own space, but then we also want the collective. And there's this big battle in social media world right now where it's like, Twitter, the Blue Sky, the Facebook, the Threads, to this, to that, to this and that and the other. And, even like on whether it be Twitter or Blue Sky, like you can't get away from politics. You can't get away from things you don't need to see or want to see. It's always just filled with junk. And so, our platform is built to be fantasy sports only, right? We want only fantasy sports. That's what we want to talk about. And even in the general chat, so like the general football channel, general baseball channel, like there's no ads. You can't post content in there. It's meant to be for organic interaction. But, if you are a creator and you are onboarded and you do have your own channel, we actually have the ability of, instead of a blue check mark, we take your logo icon and put it after your name, so that as you're in there and you're interacting with fans and you're answering their fantasy football questions or whatever, they go, man, I really like their takes. Click, boom, they get access to your community and your space, and maybe you even gain a new subscriber. But they can get in and interact and get all that for free. And it is, again, fantasy sports only. We are trying to very much so keep a honed in eye on that space, because, just like that's what we're there for, and we've always had a passion, Bob, where, there's so many brands that come in and out of the expo, and there's so many brands that ebb and flow or come in and then they go away. And we just want to create an easier way, besides Patreon and Discord and Buy Me a Coffee and everything else that's out there for them to try to make a buck, right? For creators to create customer retention, right? And be able to collect their people and be able to provide for themselves, right? As they're spending hours and hours laboring and creating this content. But also, we wanted fans to have a central place where they could get all the creator access they want. If they want to subscribe to Big Guy Fantasy Sports, to Fantasy Football Advice Network, to sports affiliation, to In Between Media, to whoever, they can do that in-app and they can get all that content right there. The creators can monetize and they don't have to leave. And we have tons of tools coming. We've developed an app or an add-on to where you can integrate all your fantasy teams, whether you play on MFL, NFL, ESPN, Sleeper, where you can see all your scores and scoring updates live in the app. We have tons of things coming, and even the ability to integrate your tools. Like, let's say you're Dynasty Pros and you have your own trade calculator. Inside your space, we can plug in your trade calculator so it's there for your users. So it's that one-stop shop where, you know, players even can get everything that they want. They can enter in the league classified system. They can find new leagues to be a part of, orphan teams, and they can find some of the best content that's out there in fantasy sports with just the click of a button. And then fast forward to probably, I would say, a month after FSGA. So be like what, April?
Mid-March.
Yeah, mid-March. We will actually have our full-blown mobile app available that will be able to plug in, and you'll have access to general channels, and you'll have direct access to all the subscribe platforms that you're a part of. And that will release then. It is fast. It works great, and we're super excited about the technology. And, you know, we're just, again, it kind of gets back to you putting on the Expo, to us doing what we do. We're just excited to bring fans and creators closer where they can support each other, and we can all have a good time doing this thing that we love, which is fantasy sports.
Exactly. So I'll just kind of wrap it up here. I know we could talk more about the Expo, but we'll be doing that all weekend long. For those of you who are watching this, it is now probably Saturday. We're not taping it on Saturday. We're taping it, but it'll be on Saturday. But tickets are open. thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Check out all the new things, the Fans Classic, the Fans Experiences, the new merchandise store. All the other stuff is still the same. So your weekend VIP pass, it's still there. It's $75. Get it now. The prices go up as the summer goes on. And so don't wait till it's too late and then have to spend almost double. So you don't want to do that. Get your tickets now. You know you're going. You know you have to go. So make sure you do that. So go to thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Get your tickets. Check out all the cool things that are happening at the website. And check out this guy at not the Fantasy Football Advice Network. It is Fantasy Sports Advice Network. It is what? ffadvice.com?
You can go to that. You can go to fantasysportsadvice.com, fantasyfootballadvice.com, fantasy baseball advice. We got them all. You know, or you want to come over to the social media network, it's fantasysportsadvice.network, and you can log straight in and join our community. You know, again, Bob, thanks for having me. I'm super excited. Make sure you buy your tickets. I will be there. You know, I got to defend my title for the Kings Classic. And
this guy, 1 year. Year one. Walks in, takes the title.
It's okay. I'm still in the little text on the shirt, you know, so I got to keep working so I can make it into the big text.
I'm in the little text of the shirt and I put it on. So there you go.
No, it's all fun. But look, seriously.
I know where I stand in this community. I know people love me. They're always like, "Oh, you're the best." And it's like, yeah, but there's Bob Harris and Andy Behrens and Mike Clays.
Yeah.
And they're here. I'm still here. So it's all.
Well, you know, we're all working at it.
Fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. They are who they are, and I love them, and I appreciate them helping out. I appreciate you, brother, for being a part of this.
Thanks,
not only last year, this year, 2 more years after, we're locking it in. So for Tyler Bradley, the title sponsor of the Fantasy Football Expo 2025, August 8th through the 10th, Canton, Ohio. Again, thank you, Tyler. Thank you, everybody. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.
Enjoyed this video? Give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.